As COVID-19 cases swell in Alberta, it creates a lot more problems for our underprivileged communities. Calgary Newcomer Centre has seen a great rise in people in need of services as well as a need to adapt to the changing landscape. The Newcomer president and CEO, Anila Lee Yuen, shared how her organization is facing so far with Diversity TV.
During COVID, we've really found that we really needed to be very quick and mobilize a lot of our staff team to work with the community to address community needs very, very quickly. What we found is from last year, comparing numbers to this year, we've actually had a 5,000 client increase in 3 months. So last year in 2019, from April to June, we had 10,000 clients that we worked with. And this year in 2020, from April to June, we were working with 15,000. So we did have 5,000 increase. Interestingly enough, though, of course, most of that was online. So we had many challenges in terms of ensuring that everybody in Calgary that needed our services had access to the internet and had access to devices. That was a really big need. And one of the things that was really important for us that we found that we needed to do was really start working in the basic needs space. So previously to COVID, we never did any food hampers or anything like that because we were always able to refer to the food bank. And the food bank has done an amazing job during COVID. But of course, there's so many people in the community all through Calgary that needed the services of the food bank that we were asked through different community organizations and funding bodies if, because we have the ethnicity catering kitchen and it's a commercial kitchen, if we could also start offering food hampers and be able to assist. That has been a really big learning experience for us. Our friends at Action Dignity, previously known as the Ethnocultural Council of Calgary, provided us with culturally comforting food lists for many different ethnocultural communities, so we knew exactly what to put into food hampers. And since then, now, 7 or 8 months later, we are now fully forming a partnership with the food bank so that we can be a satellite location for the food bank and also work with the food bank to be able to solicit from the greater Calgary community those types of foods that newcomers are eating more regularly. So more rice instead of pasta, for example. Being able to be mindful of the large variety of newcomers that are vegan, for example, or vegetarian, the ones that don't eat pork, regardless of their religious orientation, different things like that. And so we've been really fortunate to have so many community partners, many ethnocultural communities, many faith-based groups, many small businesses and larger businesses, many grocery stores and grocery chains that have been willing to donate and willing to participate with us. And many community members, including the Calgary Stampede, have come forward to help us in terms of delivering the food hampers. So that's been really, really a great experience for us and something that we're going to continue on through COVID and beyond. We actually don't have any programs that we're seeing a decline in because of COVID. It's been really interesting to see how we needed to shift. So for example, our daycare currently isn't open. So the daycare is used for children of students that are in English classes, but we've found, like many of our other staff members, our daycare staff are extremely busy. Because they are interacting with those children online, because they're preparing activities for the children to do at home and then delivering them to the children to do, they're consulting with the parents so that the parents can help the children with their development and their growth. So we've had to change the way that we do things, definitely, but we have not seen any decreases in numbers. And like I said previously, from 10,000 clients to having 15,000 clients, we've only expanded all of our services. Well, beyond the food hampers, we've also been able to expand our income support programming through the Calgary Homeless Foundation. So for people that don't have any other access to benefits, maybe they don't qualify for CERB, maybe they don't qualify for EI, some of our refugee claimants are in those types of situations where they don't have any income coming in, they've lost their job. So we're able to provide them with a microloan so that they can pay for their rent, so that they can stay in their housing. So that has been something that's been greatly expanded and has become more of a permanent program because of COVID. We also are finding that other programs that we did start this year that were not based on COVID needs, but for example, our case management program, where people that have multiple barriers can work with counselors to be able to get all of their different needs met in the community. We work with over 30 partners in East Calgary specifically. So east of Deerfoot and east of McLeod Trail, although we will help any client in any part of the city, but that's where we primarily focus. And we primarily work with a number of organizations and ethnocultural community groups, faith-based organizations, other not-for-profits that are also in the east of Calgary to be able to provide those wraparound services. While we went from 10,000 clients to 15,000 clients that we're working with, every day before COVID, we had 1,000 clients coming through our doors from 8:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. We now have a total of around, on average day, 80. So from 1,000 to 80 has been a really big change. We also have 160 staff that work at the Centre for Newcomers. And on an average day, only 40 of them, 40, are actually working in the office. Everyone else is working online. We're very excited. We are moving to a new location. We're going to be moving to 555 36th Street, so it's only 4 blocks away. We're going to continue to be on the C train line. We're going to continue. We are within walking distance of where we are now. It'll be open. We're having a target date for July 1st, 2021. We are hoping to have a lot more space, a lot more room for community groups to meet. We're going to really dedicate a lot of space towards our work with Indigenous communities to be able to foster a friendship between Indigenous communities and newcomer communities. So those are some of the priorities in the new space that we're going to be having. It is 50,000 square feet, and we will have a storefront for ethnicity catering so that people can come in. It'll be a little coffee shop. They can come in, they can get some, coffee or tea, have some samosas or, fatayers or other ethnocultural, appetizers. They can order their dinner. They can, get frozen food. So it's going to be a whole new expansion of the ethnicity catering services. As we talk about COVID and we talk about the vulnerability of communities, especially racialized communities, that we don't forget that during this pandemic is when we've seen heightened increases in systemic racism being brought to the forefront, especially in terms of the violence that we've seen against BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We saw it early on in when COVID first came out against many of our Chinese Canadian or Asian Canadian communities because COVID started in China. And of course, that's an irrational reason to be to be lashing out against anybody. And through Black Lives Matter and some of the issues that we've seen in the United States, it's also been really putting a forefront on the issues that we face in Canada for Black communities and Indigenous communities specifically, but all people of color as well. And so it's extremely important to continue to have those conversations. And at the Centre for Newcomers, we welcome community groups and people and organizations that want to have those conversations and work with us towards how do we actually help as opposed to create more pockets of discontent in the community. How can we work with our community, and how can we then make specific changes so that we are no longer needing to have conversations around systemic discrimination because it no longer exists. We are on all of the social media channels, and we're in multiple languages in social media channels. So you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Our website is centrefornewcomers.ca. People can also call us anytime. We're at 403-569-3325. And if any of that gets a little bit confusing or you forget, just remember 211. So our friends at the Distress Centre are always available 24/7, and they can direct you towards the Centre for Newcomers or any other organization that could help you.